Hey, welcome back to the channel, my fellow weather junkies. I'm your host, meteorologist Greg Majeski, your trusted weather source, bringing the weather without all that social media hype here on your Monday, February 24th, 2025. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we're tracking here for today, as we do have some cold shots coming into the country a little bit later in the week. We'll tell you exactly who's going to get impacted by that. We're still tracking that potential for severe weather going into the first week in March. So we'll break it down and we'll show you the areas that we have a little bit of concern for as we start to go into March. And speaking of March, we're going to talk about what looks to be a little more progressive pattern, a little more amplified pattern that may be more conducive for additional severe weather a little bit later in the month. We're going to get into greater detail as well. Now, before we get going, first I want to say thank you to the new subscribers here on the channel. And if you're that 60% out there that have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do so at this time. Hit that subscribe button in that bottom right-hand corner. Hit the notification bell so you're alerted on future content. As always, please leave me a comment down below. Give me a thumbs up. It does help with that almighty YouTube algorithm. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our big snapshot picture here across the country from coast to coast. Satellite imagery. Got some pretty good rains down here across southern Florida, that's for sure. Got a weak little disturbance up here in the high plains, and we have another storm system here coming in on the west coast as well, moving into the Pacific Northwest. So expecting some pretty good downpours up this way here for your Monday. Now, as we're looking at the watches and warnings, so some fog down here across Texas and up toward Arkansas. Very breezy out here in the northwestern portion of the country. We do have some thunderstorm warnings up there across the Cascade Mountains as that next storm system approaches that area. But most of the nation really not looking all that bad. Looking at our current surface map, boy, what a big difference a week makes. Last week we were tracking that big Arctic air mass. You know, there's some parts in the middle of the country that are literally going to see almost 100-degree temperature swing from morning lows from one week to the next, from like 40 below zero to like 50s. I mean, in a week. Just amazing that we're going to see across the middle of the country. We also have some heavy rains down here toward Florida this morning. Let's go ahead and check this out. Down toward Cape Coral and moving up toward Tampa. A bit of rain in this area expected for most of the day, so make sure if you're in this part of the country, have that umbrella handy. You're probably going to need it. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the latest from the Storms Prediction Center. This part of the country, we also see a few marginal severe weather. Again, we're talking on the low side here, so not looking too high here, as we're going to be dealing with the just some, gusty winds. That's basically going to be it for today. Also got a little pocket up here into parts of Oregon and Washington State as that next storm system comes in off the west coast. So not looking too bad. And I don't have anything for you for day 2 and day 3 for right now. So all quiet outside of today. Excessive rainfall, that is also for today across the Pacific Northwest. We just showed you that big storm system moving in out there. Some slight risk for some isolated flooding areas here and there across Oregon and parts of Washington State. And again, don't have anything for you for Tuesday or Wednesday this week, so not looking bad as far as we go later into the week. So let's go ahead and talk about what we're expecting with our short-term forecast. We're going to first take a look at the jet stream. We're going to look at the overall weather pattern here across the country. And this week is going to be one where we're going to see milder temperatures, a couple of cool shots, and then we're going to talk about next week. So again, as we watch the flow here across the nation, not looking too bad. But as we go toward your Tuesday, we got one quick cold shot coming down here. You see this dip in the jet stream right here. So this is going to bring our cooler air down here on Thursday and Friday. That's number one, all right? That's our first one. And then we got another one coming in behind that one, coming in real quick. So it's like 1-2 punch. There's the second one going into Sunday. So here's that second one. Got a weak disturbance sliding in here across areas of the southwest. That's the one I'm not really too concerned about. It's the one behind that going into next week that we talk about the severe weather threat. We've been tracking this on the European for a little while. Here's the next system. Again, diving in off the west coast. So here's our little upper level energy sitting right here, and this energy right here that's moving in as we head toward the 4th. That's what's got me concerned for next week for severe weather. See a pretty good jet energy in here, so we got some pretty good jet energy here. We're gonna have, it depends on how warm it is out ahead of this, but looks like as we head toward the 4th and 5th, we'll have to track some severe weather here across the southern tier of the United States, and then eventually moving into the southeast. This kind of swings right in through the southeast as we go toward the 5th, and then it kind of moves on off. And then as we go, we get a little bit of a modification. Then we get, again, look at this jet stream configuration here. We get another little cold shot coming in here going toward the 8th. And then as we take this all the way out, the one thing I do want to point out here as we go on out to the 10th and the 11th is look how amplified this jet stream is starting to look. All right, this here is a little concerning. So you start seeing big waves like that in the jet stream going into the month of March, especially as temperatures warm in the southern tier. It really does amplify the risk for additional severe weather. So if this pattern that looks like we're kind of evolving into is to continue into the month of March. You need to stay weather aware and watch out for these outbreaks for severe weather. That'll help, especially across the southern tier of the United States. Let's go ahead and look at that first, a short-term forecast. Just a couple things we're going to watch here. We're going to watch the range here across Florida. We got a very fast flow here across the northern tier of the United States for this upcoming week. So you're going to see little systems that are just going to be racing across the northern tier here over the next 40 hours. Just really a very fast flow. So we say goodbye to that wet, rainy weather there throughout the day on your Monday across South Florida. And then we'll see that again, that next system kind of plowing into the areas of the Pacific Northwest and Oregon. So very wet and very rainy going into tonight across this portion of the country. Little snows up there toward Maine as well. And I go ahead and take this all the way through. Again, we'll watch that quick flow as it just kind of races across the northern tier. Look, by the time we head into Tuesday night, that system is on the west coast here. It's kind of impacting areas up toward Minnesota. A little bit of rain here across areas of Nebraska, some snows across Idaho and into Montana going into your Tuesday night. And then we'll go ahead and take this all the way on out here as we go in toward midnight. And again, you see watching this little storm system here. But that's about it here for this week. Not looking too bad to start this week, that's for sure. All right, let's go and take this out a little bit further. We'll look at the European model here as we're going to be watching this weak system here across the Great Lakes as this kind of moves into the northeast. That's going to tap some of that cold air initially as this goes on by here. So this is our little system here. It starts to tap some of that cold air. You notice that the freezing line here starting to dip. We're going to bring in some cold air, which means we're going to fire up some snows across the Great Lakes and into the northeast as we go into the 28th. So here comes that snow coming in with that first cold shot. See it coming down here into the Carolinas. And then we're going to watch this next system behind it. That'll be another cold shot coming in going into this upcoming weekend. So there's our 1-2 punch we were talking about there. Again, some more snows into the northeast. Seeing that cold line come down here on your Sunday morning, coming down here across the mid-Atlantic with the cold air cutting into the northeast. Not bad out here in the west. We got a little weak system out here across California that we're going to watch. That system in California, when this thing ejects out, that we have to watch for the active severe weather going in toward Tuesday and Wednesday of going into that first week in March. So let's watch this evolution as this upper low begins to swing on out. We'll see the low pressure system here across Texas. We'll start initially seeing the storms flare up into this zone, and it'll move off toward the east. And we'll watch that track across the southeast. So as this thing moves off toward the east, we're talking Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and eventually going into Georgia, going in toward the 5th. So the 4th and 5th needs to be watched closely there as that system begins to move off toward the east there. And eventually it starts to move into the northeast. We'll see some snows on the back side of this going late in the day on your 5th, going into the 6th of March. And again, that'll move on up the shore there. And it looks pretty quiet going into the following weekend. Not looking too bad, except for the west coast. We got another pretty vigorous storm system out here on the west coast going into the 7th of March. And then we'll take this forward again. Anything beyond 10 days is projections. We're just kind of getting an idea of what the overall pattern flow is. Here's another quick moving system here, diving some cold air across the mid-south as we go in toward the 10th. And seeing some cold air here across the northeast. Looks like a little bit of that polar vortex may break down into the northeast. They're going in toward the 10th. And again, that moves on off the eastern seaboard. And again, very vigorous, pretty heavy snows out there on the west coast heading toward the 10th as well. So again, we're seeing the evolution of the weather pattern begin to change, where we're going to see a kind of a progressive looking pattern. Again, much more amplified pattern. And we'll have to watch beyond the 10th. We'll see additional opportunities for severe weather kind of come into the cards. Again, kind of going back to that severe weather event that we're looking at the 3rd and 4th. This is the K index. This kind of takes a look at different parameters of where we're expecting thunderstorms to develop. Maybe not necessarily severe, but it's definitely spiking in here going in throughout the day on the 4th. And it's at its highest level here going into Tuesday afternoon here across Arkansas and Louisiana. So this is still about 9 days out. And the timing on this could change a little bit. The vigorous of the storm system may also change, but this is the area that we're going to be watching going into the 4th and 5th for that severe weather risk. This tracks right along the Gulf Coast, in across Mississippi, Alabama, and into the Florida Panhandle as we go into Tuesday night, and then moves on off the sea. So that is our severe weather threat that we're watching here as we go in toward that first week in March. Let's go ahead and talk about the precipitation chances. We'll break this down first by looking at the next 72 hours, next 3 days here. You can kind of see where the best rain chances are going to fall right now. Obviously, the Pacific Northwest with that system coming inshore today, and South Florida is getting it there. But really relatively light precipitation totals here over the next 3 days for the interior sections of the country. Let's take us out for the next 10 days. So going out to the first week going into that first week there in March. Obviously, we got that storm system we'll have to watch. That'll bring some heavier rains there across portions of Oklahoma, stretching into the northeast. We got another storm system coming on the west coast that'll increase that rain threat out there as well. And we'll go ahead and take this on out for the end of the 2-week run there. And you kind of see, definitely seeing things get very heavy with rainfall out there on the west coast as we head toward the 10th of March. Let's take a look at the snow totals. Let's break down that a little bit. First, looking at the next 3 days, next 72 hours. See that snow total not that bad here for the interior section. Seeing some pretty good dumps there, especially across the Cascade Mountains there, across Washington and Oregon. And limited little light snows there across the areas of the Great Lakes and into the northeast. But going out to the 240 mark, well, we'll get a little snowier, that's for sure. Look at that snow track there coming across the Great Lakes and into the northeast once again. As we go in for the next 10 days. So definitely turning more snowier up here, up toward the areas in the northeast. And we start to see more snows out in the Intermountain region as well. That begins to fill on in there a little bit here as we go toward the 6th of March. And go ahead and take this all into the 360 here again. We'll continue with that snowy pattern here across the northeast. One of the snowiest winters they've had in some time. Seems that trend continues as we go into the first week there of March and going toward the 10th. All right, let's go ahead and track the cold air because that's where these clashes are going to be coming on in here. And one thing's for sure for this week is I'm just going to stop this for the here on your Tuesday morning. Getting a nice little reprieve here with temperatures across a big part of the country, seeing above normal temperatures here going into Tuesday, Monday and Tuesday, very warm. But again, we got a couple of cold shots we're going to watch here. Here's the one that we're going to watch here toward the end of the week. There's the cold shot there going in toward your Friday here across the eastern third of the United States. Again, milder out here toward the west, but definitely got that one cold shot there across the eastern third. And then we got another cold shot. We can warm up briefly going into Saturday, and then here's another cold shot. This one's even colder for the northeast here. A little bit of the polar vortex may break off a little bit there and kind of enhance that there. A little bit cooler out here on the west coast. That's that upper level low that's going to be swinging in off California. That's the system we got to watch that may bring in the clash of air masses going in toward Tuesday. You'll notice here as this low swings on out as we go in toward Tuesday, we got the clash here of the colder air mass and the warmer air mass out ahead of it going into Tuesday and Wednesday as that frontal system tracks along the Gulf Coast, and you see the cold air kind of progress there going into the 5th and 6th here across the Ohio River Valley in the eastern third of the United States going in toward the 6th of March. And let's go ahead and take this on out to the end of its run. We'll see how it's projecting here. We do warm up here a little bit. Still a little bit cool across the southeast going into March the 8th. And that moves on off. And here's another dump here going toward the 11th. You see that shot here. Here's cold air here, warm here. Again, you kind of get the gist here. We got cold, here's the warm, here's the cold. And it's this kind of pattern where we get these clashes of the air masses that, again, give you those volatile thunderstorm threat. And depending on the difference in the temperatures, if the temperatures are more extreme, the stronger the jet stream, therefore the stronger the potential storm system. So that's what we're going to watch here as we go deeper into the month of March. Let's wrap things up by taking a look at the Climate Prediction Center. Let's go and see what they're showing here on their 6 to 10 day outlook going into the first week in March. That's the 1st through the 5th. Colder into the northeast. We saw that that couple of little cold shots coming into the northeast, but a big part of the country here looking at above normal temperatures. Going deeper into the month, colder out in the west. Near normal for everybody else, colder in the northeast. So it looks like fairly seasonable here as we go deeper from the 3rd through the 9th. But one thing's for sure, again, with that amplified jet stream, we're going to see things get a little more active across the country. Look at precipitation-wide as we go into the 1st to the 5th. The rest of February, we're going to stay relatively dry. But it looks like the pattern begins to evolve into one a little more active, so we get a little more precipitation chances here across the country as we go deeper into the month of March, and then going out toward days 8 through the 14th, going to the 9th. Much more above normal precipitation here across the east, and really from coast to coast, things are looking a little more active. So we'll see how that translates into additional severe weather threats with these. Also with the severe weather threats, obviously it's still cold enough, we're still March, that we're going to have to watch and see what happens with the severe weather risk, also the snow risk, I should say, as we go in throughout the month. So you get these lows that will develop, you get the cold cores, you could significantly increase the moisture, and you can look for potential heavy snow events as well. Right now, I'm not seeing anything on there, at least through the 9th and 10th of March, but as we go a little bit deeper in the middle of the month, we'll see if those opportunities present themselves. I think we may see one or two before we're officially done with winter. Obviously, meteorological spring begins March 1st, and we're kind of in that transition zone as we say goodbye to winter and we go to spring. And of course, I'm going to stay on top of this as best I can to keep you informed on what you need to know to stay ahead of Mother Nature's fury. All right, that's your update for today. Again, if you're not yet officially a subscriber on the channel, please, personal invitation, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you're alerted when I post updates like this. And as always, if you got something you'd like to see, you got any feedback on a weather question, please post it down below and give me a thumbs up. I do appreciate you guys supporting my little channel here. All right, that's y'all's update for now. You guys take it easy, be good, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next update. Until then, y'all have a great day. Bye, guys.